All right, guys, I want to start the video off by saying thank you so much for all the support. Thank you for all the love you guys have been showing. Now, getting right to it, I've been asked a lot about individual hero builds. Now, a lot of my builds in the past, they've been tailored for one specific hero, but you could use it on multiple, right? But now I'm going to go more towards what you guys are requesting, starting off with Mr. OP himself, Boris. All right, guys, now as usual, I want to show you guys how you can get access to my Discord. If you guys want access to all my builds, the future builds, the past builds, the video, all in one easy format, I do have a spot in my Discord just for that. Whenever you join my Discord, click on the link in the description below. You're going to come to this read for access channel. Big hint, you got to read to get access. So essentially, you're going to read this little paragraph explaining to you what you're signing up for. Once you react, basically you're reacting for notifications, access to the channel, etc. So once you hit this little heart right here, you now get access to the rest of my Discord. As you see, 1,000 people have done already in like the past 2 weeks. Now, moving forward from there, you're going to see on the left hand side all of these little categories. You're basically going to navigate to the one that says FAULT. You're going to go into the one that says FAULT, and you're going to see right there WinDU FAULT builds. Now there you'll be able to see every single build that I have in the past, along with the YouTube video corresponding to it. As well, you're going to be able to see all my builds that don't have videos yet, the ones that will have videos up to coming up in the future, but you will have access to those builds ahead of time compared to everybody else if you're part of the Discord. Now we make it very simple. You guys can access it there, but let's get right to the build here. Now, as usual, let's start off with the aspects. Now, since this is basically going to be a Boris solo laner build, now we're going to go first with Hunter as our first aspect. The first effect of Hunter is last hits on enemy minions heal for 8% health, so it just helps with a little bit of sustainability, especially if you're getting those last hits, which you should be. And then effect number 2 is hitting 3 consecutive basic attacks on the same enemy hero within 3 seconds provides a burst of 20% attack speed for 4 seconds. So essentially, if you guys are familiar with Boris's kit, whenever it comes down to his right click, whenever it comes down to his Q, essentially his kit is based off of landing multiple basic attacks. So being able to hit 3 within a certain time frame is going to give you even more attack speed, which we all know on Boris right now is very broken. Now moving forward to the second aspect, we're going to go with Titan. First, not taking damage for 10 seconds grants a shield of 8% of your max HP. Now, that's going to be huge right there, mainly because 1, you're the solo laner. You're going to need an extra little bit of sustainability, right? But as Boris, you got to be mindful that oftentimes you're going to find yourself, especially once you start building a lot of these items, you're going to start rotating a lot, and you're going to start honestly demolishing people. So on your way to go gank somebody, you can get a little bit of extra shield, and when you have that shield, that's more of an incentive for you to jump into the fight first, because you're not only going to be semi-tanky with this build, but you're going to be doing a shit ton of damage. Now, effect number 2 of Titan is 0.5% of your max health you gain as physical and energy power. So basically, the tankier you become, the more damage you get. And we'll talk a little bit about that here as it goes on also, but this is mainly on basic attack. Now you could use this build also on individuals like Greystone and stuff like that, but this specific build really is specifically tailored for Boris. Now let's get right to the items themselves. Now if you want to take this build as a jungle build, now you can. All you would have to do is just start off with Affliction. Once you start off with Affliction there, basically you're going to be able to get improve your jungle clear and your sustainability in the jungle, and then you go right into the first item. But for now, we're focusing solely on the solo lane, starting off with Inertia Wraps. Now, Inertia Wraps, it's going to give us the 100% movement speed off rip early. So not only can we capitalize off ganks, we can capitalize on getting back to the tower as quick as possible. We can capitalize on if you're running away from an engagement or you're getting ganked, you can get to your tower and play more defensively even faster. Now it's going to give you 17 physical armor plus 1 physical armor per favor. So essentially what that means is in the early game, especially the early game, and especially on solo, you're gonna find a lot of individuals casting abilities, but you're gonna see most of the damage is honestly gonna come from basic attacks. Because let's say they use all their abilities, they miss all their abilities, or even if they land one or two, right there, you're then gonna come down to basic attacks. So if their basic attacks do less damage for you, right? And especially if there's a Greystone there with all that physical damage that he does, very, very good. Now the passive is 30% CC duration reduction. That means that if you get slowed, if you get stunned, if you get knocked up, anything, the CC lasts basically almost a third less, which will allow you to get back in the tower. It basically makes it harder for you to get ganked in a way. Now, moving forward to our second item, we're actually going to go directly into Plasma Blade. Now, like I was saying, this build in general is based off of basic attacks in the solo lane. So the Plasma Blade, what it's going to give you is 40 physical power plus 0.5 power per favor that you invest into red. You're going to get 40% attack speed, 5% lifesteal, and the passive is basic attack steal 6% of your target current health as energy damage. Basically, it's a tank slayer, right? So the reason being that we're doing Plasma Blade is because since this is all basic attack inspired, you're gonna have the power, the attack speed, and the lifesteal, especially with a Boris, all that attack speed that he already gets. So that little bit of lifesteal is gonna be huge early. You don't need a lot. Basically, that's all you really need early game in order to have a little bit more sustainability with him. Then from there, you're gonna get the 40% attack speed, which is the biggest thing that we're going for, because don't forget our aspect. If you land 3 hits within a certain time frame, you get even more attack speed. So we're basically going off of crazy attack speed. You're going to hit them so many times before they run away that they're not going to be able to do anything. And then the power infinitely scales if you choose to put the points into the red faction, which I'll tell you guys the strategy between whether to put your favors into red or put your favors into green as the build progresses. Now, moving forward, now that you have a little bit of damage, a little bit of attack speed, a little bit of lifesteal, now you're going to go directly into Baleful Armor. Now, a lot of you may ask, why Baleful Armor? Why don't you just go into Unyielding Mantle first, since you already have a little bit of physical protection? Here's the main difference, because by this point, this is item number 3, and you started off with your boots. By this point, quite frankly, you might be right around, I don't know, like 10 to 15 minute range for your third item, if you're farming properly and if you're getting kills and such. So at this point, we want to go ahead and take care of the damage output portion to help solidify. We do want to make it a little bit tankier, but at this point, energy damage, they haven't been able to build enough energy damage throughout the game by this third item that you need to warrant building energy armor at this point. We build that next. So for now, we're going to go into Baleful Armor. It's going to give you 510 health, 66 physical armor, plus 1 armor per favor. Now, don't forget, we do also have an aspect that the more health we got, the more damage we do. So this also will give you some sort of damage on the back end. Now, the passive here is that energy damage per second to enemies within 400 units. That's huge. That basically means as long as somebody's around you, they're taking energy damage. Now, the key behind this is you're already going to be basic attack inspired. So you're going to be doing all this basic attack damage while Plasma Blade is slowly doing energy damage, while Baleful Armor is slowly doing energy damage. And you remember what I was telling you? By this point in the game, not that many people have a lot of energy damage in their builds yet, because it honestly takes a lot to build that energy damage. So it basically comes down to the point that you're going to be melting them from the energy damage side and the physical arm damage side, and they are going to have to build both in order to try to counter you. But if they're building armor, they're also not able to build damage, so that also kind of helps you out a little bit. But the active, very important to remember this active here. Every second for 5 seconds, enemies within 600 units take 1% of your max health as energy damage. So basically, if you're in the middle of a team fight, if let's just say if it's just a solo laner and the jungler coming over to gank you, if you pop this active, not only are you already doing passive damage to them by them just being near you, you're now doing an extra amount of your max health by them being near you, right? And then from there, You're also doing the plasma blade. You're also got all your abilities as Boris, so you can easily shred them without them even realizing. A chunk of their health will be missing just because they're standing next to you. Don't forget to use this active. That's why it's super important to build this item as quick as possible. Now next, we're gonna go ahead and go into Unyielding Mantle. Now, Unyielding Mantle, it's going to give us 425 health. Don't forget, we're getting more damage based off of more health that we increase there. We're getting 36 physical armor, just a little bit more to stack on, not bad. 36 energy armor plus 1 energy armor per favor. So basically, this is infinitely stacking energy armor. Now, the active, cleanse and become status immune for 2 seconds. That basically, again, if you're getting ganked, if you're in the middle of a team fight and now you got to get out, to prevent people from slowing you, from stunning you, from jumping on you like Chimera, anything like that. I mean, it doesn't prevent the jump, but it prevents a slow that the jump creates. Basically, pop this and it'll almost guarantee that you won't be stopped for 2 seconds as you're trying to escape. So pop this, wait the 2 seconds, and then do your Boris right click so you can leap and get more distance on people and get out safely. Now, another reason why we're building this is because this energy armor alone, 36 energy armor, believe it or not, a lot of people might not think that that's a lot, but that is huge, especially if you consider the fact that your energy armor in its own has already been passively scaling with your levels as well as your physical armor, right? And that's another reason why we don't necessarily need to put energy armor too early, because energy armor, it's a lot more late game to feel the effect of an energy armor, but your base level scaling already on the armor side is huge. So as long as you're doing well farming, as long as you're doing well, you know, getting kills and stuff like that, lane control, etc., you will have plenty of armor early game to not even need to justify building crazy armor early. Now, I want to go ahead and take a second here to talk about where should your favor go. Now, by the time that you finish putting Unyielding Mantle on the board, you're going to run into a scenario, right? Are you ahead? So this is already 4 items deep. You're already like around 20-25 minutes at this point. Are you ahead? If you are ahead and you're destroying everybody, you're perfectly fine with putting all of your favor into red so you can get more damage off of it. And with the next upcoming 2 items, you're going to get even more damage from those. Now, if you are behind, if your team is slacking, if you're finding yourself being like the only person in a team fight and you need more tank, then put your favor into green. The reason being is because don't forget, off of Unyielding Mantle giving you infinitely stacking energy armor and off of Baleful Armor giving you infinitely stacking physical armor, if you really wish, you can simply just endlessly stack your armor, become as tanky as possible while you build damage items. That is an option. But if you wish, you can just simply put all of those points into red and do even more damage. So that choice is going to be up to you, and it's going to be contingent on where your game is, where your position is. Now, you're going to be Boris. Usually by the 4th item, you're going to be pretty fucking stacked. You're going to be pretty hard to kill, especially how strong he is right now. So it's really going to be a judgment call, and I'll leave that up to you guys. But let's move on forward here to our 5th item, and that's going to be Full Metal Jacket. Now, Full Metal Jacket is going to give you 50 physical power, and then you're going to get armor penetration, 30% physical armor penetration, and 0.25% physical armor penetration gets added per favor. So remember how I was telling you, if you're already ahead, put it all into red. You're not only going to get extra damage on Plasma Blade, but you're also going to get extra penetration off of Full Metal Jacket. So at that point, you should be shredding tanks, even tanks, to be honest with you. You're going to be so fucking strong. You're going to do so much damage. Squishies, you're going to destroy. Tanks, you're going to intimidate a little bit more. Hell, depending on how far ahead you are, you might destroy them too. Now, moving forward, the last item is going to be King's Castle. Now, King's Castle is going to give us 70 physical power plus 0.5 power per favor, and then 10% lifesteal. So you get a little bit more sustain off of your basic attacks because you're going to be there swinging the entire time, especially with that aspect. As soon as you get 3 attacks, you're going to swing even more. And then you get some extra power on top of that, possibly infinitely scaling, depending if you put your points into red or into green. But your active, dash forward 600 units and heal for 4% of your max health. per hero within 600 units. So here's the thing, you can use this as an escape if you really need be, but on Boris, I found that the best way to use this item is as a chase down item. Imagine you're there, you engage with them, you leap towards them, you ult on them, and they're still kind of getting away, but they're one hit. Activate your King's Castle, dash forward, land that last basic attack, it's done, you got the kill. This is so useful, and I see so little people actually using this item as it should be. Now don't forget guys, for those active items, you guys should be dragging with the right click and rearranging them for your best convenience. I always recommend put your actives between number 1 and number 4. Usually 2 or 3 are my go-tos, but if I have more than 2 actives, I go 1, 2, 3, 4 as my active item. Now, honestly guys, by that point of the build, you're going to have, again, plenty of armor, you're gonna have damage, you're gonna have life steal, you're gonna have attack speed, and you're gonna have pen. You basically have everything that you need in order to dominate the solo lane, in order to dominate the game. And quite frankly, if you get to full build, I can easily see you 1v5 against the enemy team, get several kills, and still make it out alive if you're a good enough player. But anyways guys, that's been it. Thank you so much for all the love. Thank you so much for all the support that you guys have been showing. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully this Boris build does great for you guys. I can't wait to hear about it in the comments below. I can't wait to hear about it in the Discord below. Thank you so much for everybody that's been showing love and coming by. Until then, like usual, see you in the next video.